Piece video. So this one's actually gonna be just me talking about One Piece. Specifically, it's talking about the different arcs in One Piece. Um, I'm a One Piece lover. I adore that anime slash manga. The story is what I adore. And so I thought it'd be cool to just talk about the different arcs and where I would place them on a tier list. There are some arcs, just as a disclaimer, there are some arcs that some people might count as arcs, other people might count as different arcs, but I'll make sure to explain which arc I'm talking about. I will go along swiftly so as not to make this video too long, but let me know if you do enjoy me talking about One Piece. This one's for you One Piece fans. Okay. First, I will talk about the arcs that I think are in D tier. That is to say, the arcs that I think are at the very bottom. So, the arcs that I don't like. The first one this is not in any specific order. It's just the arcs that I didn't enjoy. The first one is Little Garden. Now, Little Garden, I like the concept of dinosaurs and giants, but somehow that arc didn't stand out to me. For me, I think it was mainly because of Mr. 3. I didn't like him as a villain. On top of that, the other Baroque works, agents, were kinda meh, you know? There were some funny moments in that arc. However, for me, it just wasn't entertaining in any way besides maybe the most entertaining thing about it was the giants fighting, but even that couldn't make up for the lack of I don't know, it just didn't have that thing that I like One Piece for. I can't really explain it too much because that one I feel like I should have liked, but I didn't. Anyways, Little Garden. The other arc, the next arc in D tier is Syrup Village. Syrup Village was the arc where we get introduced to Usopp. Now, I like Usopp for his funny nature, but this arc was very slow, in my opinion, and not very entertaining. We had to fight Captain Kuro. Yeah, he was, I mean, I like him as a villain. He was a cool villain. But, it just wasn't the right time in the story. I mean, we got the Mary there, which was cool, but I don't know, to me, it's a classic arc, but somehow it manages to pussyfoot maneuver onto D tier, so sorry, Usopp's Village, I'm sorry. And the other arc in D tier is the Foxy arc. I don't know if people like this arc just to troll or if they genuinely like this arc, but I mean, it was just a filler arc. I mean, it was story, but filler. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it was story, but it wasn't, story. Anyways, I don't think I have to explain myself on why I put Foxy at D. So, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Foxy arc, D tier. Sorry. Now we move on to C tier. I have some arcs in here that a lot of people might not agree on, but yeah, let's just look into it. So the first arc in C tier is Orange Town. Orange Town is the arc where we meet Buggy, and I mean, I liked the story with the dog, and I liked seeing Buggy. Buggy's one of the greatest characters in the show. I might add that he might be the next Pirate King, but other than that, the arc was, pretty. It was average. It wasn't anything really special. It was the first fights that we see Zoro and Luffy fighting together. But I don't know, it was just average. There's nothing really much to say about Orange Town. Then the next arc that I put in C tier is Reverse Mountain. Reverse Mountain. The reason I put Reverse Mountain in C tier is because, I mean, it's just the story of Laboon, right? Unless I'm missing something. If I'm missing something, then let me know, but I feel like it's just Laboon's story. The only reason I put it in C is because it's a short story, really. Yeah, Reverse Mountain. I like Laboon. Laboon is cool. C tier. The next arc in C tier is Whiskey Peak. This is like right after Laboon's story. So the reason I put it in C tier, the first time I watched it, I thought I would have probably said B tier. But after a rewatch, it's kind of like, it wasn't really that special, really. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. I mean, I like seeing a bunch of different enemies together, just like attacking our people, But I don't know, it was funny. There was nothing really, really special, nothing too serious in that arc. It was okay, and that's why it's in C tier. The next arc that I'm putting in C tier is the Jaya arc. Jaya. Jaya arc is right before Skypiea. This is the arc where Luffy one-shot Bellamy. Now I'm putting Jaya in C tier simply because honestly it could be B tier. That's a possibility, it could go either or. But I'm gonna put it in C tier because it was a pretty iconic punch. And also seeing Blackbeard for the first time, saying that dreams never die, was also pretty cool. I'm trying to remember what else happens in that short span. But, it was a very short arc, so I'm just gonna leave it in C tier because nothing super exciting happened, but I might move it B tier maybe. It's either B or C for me, but let me know what you guys think of course, we get the nothing happened moment, which was legendary, really. Um, the arc overall was super funny. It was probably the funniest arc in all of One Piece. And we get to see Brooke. We get to find out about Laboon. What else? There's quite a bit of things that happen. We get to see some of the Sunny's mechanisms. A lot of things happen in this arc, you know, and Luffy like bulks up and just turns into like this Hulk creature. We see them tag team Oars, which was also cool. But I don't know, it wasn't. Maybe if I don't know. It's just C tier because maybe if there was a different main villain there. I mean, I personally don't hate Moria. I know a lot of people do. I think he's very misunderstood as a character, but I don't know. It just wasn't. He wasn't enough in that arc. It didn't seem like a problem, and Luffy didn't really push himself too hard. So, yeah, that's my reasoning for putting it in C tier. I don't know, I didn't enjoy it as much as other arcs. The other arc in C tier is actually going to be Punk Hazard. I don't know if people enjoy this arc a lot. They might. Truthfully, it wasn't a bad arc, but it was just not good. I don't know, it was average. And that's why I'm putting it in C, is because everything in C I look at as average. Like, you know, I could watch it again, but I really don't want to. It's that type of vibe in C tier. Now there are certain moments that I thought were awesome, like, you know, Sanji coming in, rescuing the kids, and Luffy punching Caesar. Not really punching, but whatever. Also seeing Law was cool. The whole alliance starts in Punk Hazard, which is also cool. We learned that it's the island that Akainu and Aokiji basically formed. It's where they had their battle, which was also cool. But the whole arc, even though I like ice arcs, like arcs that take place in the snow, I just didn't enjoy this one as much. I don't know. It felt like a dud to me. But let me know what you think. And the last arc that I'm putting in C tier is Lockdown. Lockdown, the town where Roger was born and executed. It was just an average arc to me. This arc, to be honest, could go to B tier possibly. I would consider moving it up to B tier. But I'm gonna leave it at C tier. I mean, we had cool things like seeing Smoker for the first time, seeing Dragon save Luffy, seeing Bucky almost executing Luffy. What else was there? You know, we got to see previous characters just come back. So it was cool. But again, nothing that really stands out to me, really like caught my attention or intrigued me as much, which is why I put it C tier. And yeah, it's a C tier. Now we move on to B tier. And the first arc is the Baratie arc. I hope I'm saying that right. Well, this is the arc where we meet Sanji. I personally enjoyed this arc a lot. I like Sanji's backstory in this arc. I like the fights that take place. versus what's his name? Tom Krieg. Tom Krieg. Yeah. And Sanji versus Kin, right? Or Kin. I forgot his name, but yeah, I like those fights. I like the whole farewell from Zev to Sanji. There's a lot of things that I like about that arc, and it's just little things, you know. A lot of people might not put it as a B tier, but I think it was a solid small arc. I really do. And Sanji is one of my favorite characters in the show. So I don't know. It's to me it's obvious it's a B, but to somebody else it might be way lower or way higher on the list. It could really go either way, I think. Yeah, B tier. The next B tier for me is one that a lot of people might not agree on, but it's Alabasta. And the only reason I have Alabasta at B and not at A is because I don't like desert arcs. I do not like an arc that takes place in a desert. I've always hated anime arcs that are in the desert, but Alabasta is too good to put at the bottom, you know. We have Crocodile, who's arguably one of the best villains in the show. We see Luffy fight him not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. So we know that he's a serious character. We also see the whole story with Vivi that I think is just amazingly written. That whole arc was just amazing, really. I don't know, all the fights that took place, like Zoro versus Mr. 1, Sanji versus Mr. 2, Nami versus Miss Doublefinger, Usopp and Chopper versus those two. I forgot their name. But they were all cool. Everything was cool about it. Now, if the setting was changed to instead of the desert, it was like, you know, a normal kingdom, or maybe a kingdom in the snow, or anything else, really. Anything else, I would have put it up, but I really don't like desert arcs. They make me feel very thirsty, and I don't like the heat, so it makes me feel like I'm the one that's hot. So there you go. B tier Alabasta, sorry. The next B tier is Skypiea. Now this one is an arc that I think a lot of people don't like, but I personally thought it was good. It was just good, you know. Eno is, he could be my favorite villain. Maybe. He's in the top 3 for me, at least. As far as favorite, there's Eno, which I really like. I really like the concept of the island in the sky. It's amazing. What else? The backstory in Skypiea, the one with Nolan the Liar, and Nolan the Liar and Conqueror. I thought that backstory was just extremely well written. I feel like if they updated the animation, the arc would seem a lot better nowadays. The only reason I think people don't like it is because the pacing was kind of bad. It was kind of bad, so I think that's why people don't like it. We get the lore from Roger with Robin. We get some pretty cool fights. It was a good arc. this is where we meet Boa Hancock. You know, it was a nice relief from the previous arc to go to Amazon Lily. It was only Luffy, and you know, an island full of women. It's a cool concept. I really liked it. I mean, it's not a new concept, but it was nice to see in One Piece, you know, and how they handled it. To be honest, there's nothing I can really say that was like bad about it, or good, or like really good about it, you know. It was just in the middle. Everything was good. Like, out of all of these arcs, this is the one arc that, to me, the one word I could use to describe it is good. You know, good. It's good. It's a good arc. Everything is good. The fights we see, like a little tournament style action, it doesn't get completed, but, you know, we see Boa Hancock, which, you know, some people don't like, but I think the majority of the fan base really likes. Her personality is a bit iffy, you know, but she's cool. Like, I saw her fight in the Stampede movie, which, by the way, was one of the best anime movies I've ever seen. But seeing her fight there and seeing her overall fight in the show, she's a cool character. So, to be honest, Amazon Lily is just a B. It just is a B. You know, the next B tier arc for me is Fishman Island. Fishman Island, after the time skip, you know, it was refreshing to see the characters in their new looks, you know, and with their new abilities go off against the Fishman Pirates, or the new Fishman Pirates. I forgot what their name is, to be honest. But the thing about Fishman Island is that the villain, Hody, he's just bad. Like, it's just a bad character. And it's not saying that, well, it is saying he's a bad character, but for his motivation to not have any, like, backbone to it, I mean, it's a well-written character for being bad, if that makes sense. It's a bad, well-written character. Does that even make sense? I don't know, but if anyone knows what I mean, they know what I mean. But yeah, it was good. It wasn't great. I have a friend that really, really dislikes that arc. But to me, it's good. Like, why could you really hate it? There's a lot of good points. So, yeah, it's a B tier for me. So, the next arc in B tier is Zoe. Zoe is in B tier for me because even though there was really good moments, the rest of the arc was kinda, it was good. It was okay, good, you know. The highlight moment of the arc was seeing the Minx's loyalty to the Kazuki clan. I thought that was amazing. Like, I remember when I first saw that scene, I just got so many goosebumps. I was like, oh, wow. I really didn't expect that. Should I have seen it coming? Maybe. But I didn't expect it at the time, and it just really shocked me, and I was like, wow, this is good writing, you know? Seeing how they got destroyed, the Minx, I mean, by Jack, was also pretty good. We get introduced super cool character who might become a Straw Hat, maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens with Garrett, but it was a good arc. So, the next arc, I'll go quickly with this one because a lot of people might not consider it an arc, even though it kind of is. The Reverie, I put it in B tier, because I like seeing the old characters come back again. A lot of things happen here, including the Revolutionary Army. I don't know. To me, I really like arcs where we just get to see old characters, and even arcs where we see a bunch of new characters, like not just a little bit, but a lot, from a lot of different places. I don't know. It was a decent arc, but I know a lot of people might not consider it an arc. So I'm just gonna say it's a B tier for me. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. So it's a B tier. Now moving on to the A tier arcs. These are my A tiers. So the first one for A tier is Arlong Park. I don't think I need to explain why it's an A tier, but you know, Arlong I thought was a good villain, and Nami's whole backstory was amazing. Great writing. She was being foreshadowed as this thief, and then we get the resolution of why she is a thief, which was amazing. We get to see the crew in their first official fight, I guess you could say, in the East Blue. So it was just a great arc, to be honest. It was amazing. It was emotional. It was badass. It was just well written. It was the first arc where once I got to this point, I was just completely hooked on One Piece, and I started binging it. Before then, I was just kind of watching it, casually. And then I got to this arc. I binged the whole arc, and then I started binging the whole show, and I didn't stop. That was the moment when I just fell in love with One Piece, and I mean the rest is history, So it's an A tier for me. The next arc is the Drum Island arc, and this is the arc where we meet Chopper. Now, I hold this arc in high regard because personally, Chopper's backstory is one of my favorites in the whole entire show. So, to me, it's already, at least a B tier because of the backstory. But I also really like Winter Islands, just arcs, that take place in the snow. I really like them in general, in any anime really. And also, the conclusion to the arc was beautiful. Now the only reason I would consider putting it as, actually, because I like it that much, but the only reason why it's not an S is because the only reason that it's not an S is because the main villain is horrible. I do not like Wapol at all. He wasn't intimidating, he wasn't funny, he wasn't anything to me. I just didn't like Wapol as a villain, as a character. I don't like him. And that's really the main reason why. If it would have been a better villain, I would honestly consider it an S tier. But it's an A tier for me. The next arc, or arcs, I'll put them together because they're kind of, the same, but technically I think they're different. Is Water 7 and Annie's Lobby. This is, both, even if I separate them, I think they're both A 7, like as a town, I think it's creative, imaginative, it's fun. It's one of my favorite towns in the world of One Piece that we've seen so far. We get Usopp versus Luffy. Robin disappears. We get this whole controversy of whether the Straw Hats killed the mayor or not. Everything in that arc was just cool and awesome to see. I don't know. We get to see CP9 for the first time. The twist that they are the shipwrights that were undercover from the Navy, from the world government, Navy, world government. So it was just awesome all around, and that's why they deserve an A. Now, Annie's lobby was just Water 7 extended, So there's the concluding fights, we got all of them. All the Straw Hats got like power-ups. We get to see Robin's backstory. We get to see characters that are tied in with other characters that we've had in the past, talking about the Giants. We get to see new CP9 members. Yeah. It was just awesome. The fights were amazing, although they did kind of lag it in the anime, but still, they were awesome. There's nothing else to say about that. They were A tier together. They're A tier. What would have made it an S tier? To be honest, I don't know if anything could have made it an S tier. I can't think of anything, at least. I mean, anything could get better, but I don't know. For me, it's an A tier. Because when I look at the arcs that I put in S tier, I enjoyed those a lot more than I did Water 7 and Annie's Lobby. So I'm just gonna leave it at A tier. The next arc in A tier is Impel Down. Now, Impel Down, I think Magellan is maybe top 5 villains, or at least antagonists to our protagonists, I thought his Dalluv was cool. I really would like to see the character again in the future. But Luffy breaking into the prison was cool, and I think a lot of people might not like the arc because, the overall objective was failed and nothing really was gained besides, comrades. But I thought it was super entertaining and super fun to see all these different levels, which, by the way, I hate the famine level because it looks like a desert. Surprise, surprise. But, we got Mr. 2 from there, so, Mr. 2, Bon Clays, on to Tra, he's amazing. But, yeah, there was nothing really bad about the arc, to me. Like, even Hannibal, which was what do you call him, like the second in command, I guess. Even though he was not a cool looking character by any means, like, he was still funny, so I enjoyed his character. We got to see Crocodile again. We got to see all these past characters again. We got to see, how could I forget, Buggy-sama. Buggy-sama is like, future king of the pirates, but we'll leave that for another video. S tier. Just because of Doflamingo. I really like his character as a villain. You know, he was like really a master, like an evil mastermind, like pure genius, I think. So he was like ruling. I mean, you guys know what happened. If you're watching this, probably. So, I mean, the reasons why I like this arc so much is cards we got to see. Luffy's new gear. Doflamingo was amazing as a villain. We got to see Law fight against Doflamingo. We got to see Law's backstory, Doflamingo's backstory. We got to see a new admiral. We got to see Zoro chop up this giant thing. We got to see Usopp use Haki. What else? Like, there's a bunch of other things. We got to see the what's it called? The Grand Fleet get together for the first time. We were introduced to Bartolomeo. Everyone loves Bartolomeo. Bartolomeo is us super fans in the story. That's why Oda made the character. I mean, at least that's what I think. But, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That anime had poor pacing, but I still thought it was amazing. It was still amazing. So, it's an A tier arc for me. Now, all that's left is the S tiers. So, these are the arcs that I could rewatch and rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. I really, really like these arcs. Now, of course, you guys are already gonna know what they are, or at least have a good idea, because I've named all the other arcs. But the first arc is Sapodi, or Shapodi. I don't know how you say it really, but seeing the worst generation come together, seeing Kizaru, seeing the pacifistas, seeing Kuma, the emotion that went into it, the celestial dragon punch, the new abilities from these new pirates, Kami added to the mix behind the lore of discrimination towards fishmen, the whole slave buying, just being introduced to these higher power celestial dragons, and the annihilation of the crew itself. It was all... Oh, and not to even mention being introduced to the right hand of Gold Roger, or Gold D. Roger. Everything about it was amazing. And the arc is just peak One Piece writing for me. Like, not one episode was slow in that whole arc. So, it's, to me, an obvious S tier. I mean, the arc starts with an S, so, you know, already. So, the next arc in S tier, this is a given. Obviously, it's Marineford. Not one episode was slow. I could rewatch it over and over. We got to see a bunch of different things while trying to save Ace. There was so many emotions mixed into it. Whitebeard, introduction to an amazing character that came almost as fast as he went. So, honestly, he didn't go fast. He was a tank. He was an actual tank. But we got to see Marco, which, by the way, has my favorite devil fruit. I think that devil fruit's amazing, and if I were to have one, it would be that one. You know, a phoenix. chef's kiss. If there is any criticism for it, it would be the lack of full fights. But it really wouldn't make sense to have full fights in war, you know? And you could argue that, you know, why aren't they at least finishing off their opponent? But I think it's more like the heavy hitters on each side were thinking about it more as a strategy, where like, I'm gonna go on you, but I'm gonna back off if I feel like it could take too long because I need to focus on more important things. But I don't know. It could have had some long fights for sure, but even without the fights, I thought it was still an S tier arc, which says a lot about the writing. So yeah, S tier Marineford. Now the next arc is Whole Cake Island. Again, like I said, I think Sanji is one of my favorite characters, so I think this is pretty much a given on why it's an S tier. So this is our first arc where we have to like head off against an emperor of the sea. We get to see Sanji's family. You know, Carrot comes along the ride, which is cool. We also see Pedro, and he sacrifices himself. We get to see Sulong. We get to see Jinbei. The amazing fight against Katakuri. The mirror world, like that whole aspect of it was cool. It was a lot like Alice in Wonderland. There was a lot of like Disney components to this arc, which, I mean, I grew up with Disney, so it was cool to see. You know, Big Mom, although a lot of people are gonna say they don't like her, she's an emperor, which makes her strong. So even though her character may not be the most appealing character, I still think it was a great arc. It really was. And it really wasn't about her. It was more about just getting Sanji back. So I think a lot of people criticize the arc for things that they shouldn't be criticizing it about. The whole tea party was also cool, seeing how there was a lot of like betraying going on between Germa and the Big Mom pirates, and then, you know, Capone being a person who wanted to assassinate Big Mom. It was all well written, I think. We didn't get to see Sanji fight, really. So that's something I would have liked, but I mean, this arc was about saving him. I don't know. It was an S tier for me. There was a lot of amazing different parts about it. It's an arc that I could rewatch and rewatch and rewatch, and that's why it's an S tier. Maybe not rewatch, but in the manga, it was amazing. I think there was some parts of Whole Cake that weren't handled as well, but in the manga, it was amazing. I mean, the last arc is not finished yet, and that's Wano, but I'm putting it in S tier because I do believe it's gonna end up being an S tier. As of right now, I am caught up on the manga, so when it does end, when the arc ends, I do believe it's gonna be an S tier. I mean, what I've seen in the manga so far has been amazing, and honestly, I can't wait to see it be adapted into the anime, because there's no way the anime can mess it up. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, the moments were just too cool. And for those of you who have not seen or have not read the manga, I can tell you that Wano is gonna be amazing. And that's something that you should already know, to be honest, but just confirming it here. I mean, so far, where Wano is in the manga, it's amazing. So, it's gonna be an S tier. And if it's not, I think it might be competing with Marineford for the best arc in all of One Piece. Most likely. I think it might beat it in the future. I mean, it's not even over, so I think it's a good contender, definitely, especially with the animation. But yeah, so far it's an S tier for me. Yeah, that's it. So guys, thank you for watching this video. If you did end up watching it to the end, this was a super long video, but you know, it's a tier list video, so it is gonna be long. So I whispered throughout all of it. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did end up watching it all, let me know your arcs and how you would tier them up, I guess. I think I'm gonna post the arcs and the tiers. I put them in the comments or somewhere, or maybe in the description. So let me know where you would change certain arcs, or if you just think my tier list is bad, let me know why, and which arcs are the good ones, which ones are the bad ones, in your opinion. I love talking about One Piece, so if you have any different opinions on any of the arcs, or anything about One Piece in general, make sure to let me know, and I'll be sure to comment, and we can get a conversation going down there. Again, I like talking about One Piece. It's one of my favorite things to do. So, yeah. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and leave a comment if you find it interesting.